Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you're an old subscriber, thank you so much for stopping by. Please don't forget to share, to comment, to like. And for those that haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. So on Zim Crimes channel, we talk about crimes that have happened in Zimbabwe, outside Zimbabwe, anywhere and everywhere where Zimbabweans are thriving. And we also talk about crimes that are already in the public domain. I do not talk about anything out of my own making, but everything I talk about is already in the public domain. I also have a Facebook page called Zim Crimes Channel, where we share daily crimes that are happening around us, especially concerning Zimbabweans, wherever they are living. And yeah, I encourage you also to follow my Facebook page so that you can catch up with me there when I do live streams talking about current events that are affecting Zimbabweans in terms of crimes. All right. So yeah. And I'm starting a new series that I'm just going to be looking at men of the cloth, or what we call clergy men, that have found themselves before the courts of law for something that they've been accused of doing or something that they actually did. If you go back to my channel, you realize that there is, I already did a video on Gumbura. Gumbura is Robert Martin Gumbura, who unfortunately passed on during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. He died of COVID-19, and he was actually a preacher in Harare, but he died in prison. So he wasn't the only man of the cloth or the only clergy man that has had to go before the courts. In today's video, we are going to talk about another clergy man who has had to go before the courts a number of times. And this is none other than Walter Magaya, or Prophet Walter Magaya of the PhD ministries. Now, I don't know, what does PhD stand for? I think it's Prophetic Healing and Deliverance Ministries. Yes. So the name of the founder and the leader is Prophet Walter Magaya. Now, let's talk about Prophet Walter Magaya. Prophet Walter Magaya was born Walter Magaya in 1983 in Ngezi, Mondoro, in Zimbabwe. He's a Christian and is married to Tendai Katsiga Magaya. Together they have two sons, Yada Makanaka and Walter Jr. And he's a senior pastor at the Prophetic Healing Deliverance Ministries, PhD. He's the founder and the leader of this church. And he founded this church after he came from TB Joshua's SCOAN in 2012, where he was anointed to actually be a great prophet. So he came back and he started his ministry, and his ministry rose to prominence, and it became very, very, very famous. He loves football to the extent that he even funded the national team when they were actually supposed to go outside the country for a tour of duty, and they could not, the ZIFA could not raise enough funds. He has actually funded those trips a couple of times. So he's a football fanatic, okay, and he's also believed to be a major shareholder in one of the local football clubs in Zimbabwe. So yeah, he is a football fanatic. He has done a lot of charity work. He has a lot of charity work on his CV, and that includes where, I don't know if you know the story about the people that were living in the bush, the people from, I don't remember the place now. These people that were living in, they were literally living in the bush with animals and everything. And then he brought them to Harare and helped them get some clothes and just to kind of rehabilitate them and build homes for them. He's also known for funding students, university students, paying their fees and everything. Yeah, so he's done quite a bit of charity work. He he has done, or I don't know if I should say a bit or a lot of charity work. But yeah, that's Prophet Magaya right there. Not to say that Prophet Magaya does not have a bad side. Now, let's go and talk about his bad side. Prophet Magaya has been in and out of the courts, and sometimes not even in and out of the courts, but just in the papers for scandalous behavior. And most of his cases, of course, in the courts, they always crumble because then the victims withdraw the cases, or they just come up with, oh yeah, I was lying, oh blah blah blah. Now let's dive deep into some of the victims, some of the cases that he's been accused of. Right. Walter Magaya has a number of cases against him that range from rape, sexual harassment, extortion, as well as creating and publicly speaking that he found the cure for HIV, something that was not done properly, that he did without following procedure. All these cases have seen him going before the courts and having to answer. Now let's go into these cases one by one. Maybe before we even talk about these cases, let's also talk about some of the mystery, are they called mysteries? No, what do they call them? The miracles that he has performed. Right. Walter Magaya is that man that was said to have delivered Beverly, you know, our dancer Beverly, of he said to have delivered her from whatever that was making her to be a pole dancer, to be a strip teaser, to be, you know, that adult dancing thing that she does. So he said, it is actually said that he, the one who delivered her from that, but it did not last long. Beverly decided to go back because she said that the deliverance did not come with financial deliverance either. So she was not surviving. She could not survive on the store that he had opened for her. She needed more money. So she had to go back to what she knew, that is dancing. And there was a time actually she was mocking him, teasing him, saying that he was begging her to come back to his ministry because, you know, he wants people to believe that even the worst people can be delivered in his ministry and you know that. But yeah, eventually Beverly apologized for, you know, saying those bad things about the man of God. And yeah, it is said that probably she was forgiven and all. But yeah, that's Walter Magaya. And there was another madman that came there to his church, to his ministry, and he said to have delivered that mad person and cleaned him up and everything. And there was the Aguma issue where he said that he had found the cure for HIV, and he was working in conjunction with an Indian company to produce the medicine. And he said that the medicine was made out of two plants, one from Zimbabwe and one from Mozambique. And then, that one he had to go before the courts and answer because he did not do it correctly. He didn't follow the procedure. And World Health Organization obviously dismissed that because there were no clinical tests. There was nothing done. It was just talk. And he actually went public and said that he got the cure for HIV and cancer, which was not right. Okay, now let's go into the real crimes that he has been accused of. Let's start with rape. So for rape, we have the lady by the name Charity Hlodlo. If you remember Mai Madziwa from Studio 263, she's one of the people that actually accused no, this one is not for rape. This one is for sexual assault. She is one person who accused Walter Magaya of sexually assaulting her. She said she went to his office. She was actually in the ministry and she was working in the house of God, cleaning and everything. And then one day she went to his church, to his church office, and she was kneeling down like a respectful woman. And she said that Walter Magaya got up from his chair and went to her, and he started touching her boobs, and he was trying to kiss her, and then she screamed. So that was like sexual assault. However, Charity went on to withdraw this, saying that it was the devil who had influenced her to talk about it, and it was nothing, there was nothing like that that ever happened. But she also said that she was getting death threats from one of Walter Magaya's person called James Damu. This person was threatening her, so probably that's the reason she withdrew. But then she issued a public apology to the prophet, saying that it was the devil who had influenced her to do that. So that's one person. That's one case that just collapsed right there. For rape, let's talk about Chennai Agatha Mayanzanise, whose parents came out publicly saying that their daughter had been raped by Walter Magaya. Walter Magaya had adopted this Chennai and her sister, and he was paying school fees for them. And the family was also part of the church, and they were working in the church. They were serving God and everything. But before, 2 months after the children were adopted by Walter Magaya, Chennai was pregnant, and she was about 17 years of age. And then she never spoke about who the father of the baby was until later. She said to have told her parents that Walter Magaya was actually the father. And because he was not doing anything to take care of the child, they had to speak publicly and say that, yeah, he had fathered a child with their 17-year-old daughter, and he was doing nothing to take care of that child. However, when this happened, Chennai had just gotten married. She was like 2 months into her new marriage, and she never said who the father of her child actually is, because she, at that point, she had a 5-year-old daughter, and that is the daughter that her parents were claiming was fathered by Walter Magaya. But she never said anything about the paternity. However, she came out saying that she was never raped by Magaya, and her parents were making up a story, and people should stop feeling sorry for her because nothing of that sort ever happened. Now, how do you deal with such a case when the supposed victim turns around and says that, well, nothing like that ever happened actually, so yeah, guys, just leave me alone, it never happened, yeah. So that is one case of rape that just collapsed. In the year 2016, in August, Magaya was arrested in Harare for allegedly raping a lady from MSU, a student from MSU by the name Petronella Donozo Mandaza. And then he said to have given her $200 after raping her in Harare. Now, on this one, Magaya was given a $2,000 bail. And before he was actually arrested, he had been talking to people in his circles that he was a target for extortion. Somebody was trying to extort him, to extort some money from him. But however, in the same year of 2016, Petronella did an affidavit withdrawing her case against Magaya because she said that she was being threatened. Her life was being threatened, and she said, open court, I've received threats from people who are threatening to shoot me in the event that I do not testify well in order to get the accused convicted. If by any chance I decide to withdraw the matter, I then realized that if I do not win this case or do not do what they expect me to do, my life is in danger. I've come to the conclusion that this case is now beyond me. I've also come to understand that a greater evil are the people outside this matter that want me to be that want the accused convicted, even if it means adding lies to my testimony in court. I'm not able to go through with this case. I cannot testify under these conditions in court, knowing that I have to perform in a way that these people who are threatening me desire. Please note that I was not forced by anyone to withdraw my case. It should be noted that at the same time the accused has not contacted me or given me money to withdraw. I did this out of my own free will. Close court. So yeah, it is that the reason that she withdrew her case was because she was fearing for her own life, and then she had to withdraw the case. However, in the year 2017, Magaya actually admitted that indeed he had an affair with Donozo on a video that was recorded secretly. Now, this is the same year that you'd remember there were audios that were circulating of Donodzo and allegedly Donodzo and Magaya talking about 100,000, where she was trying to get $100,000 out of him for what she called he used her. She loved him and he just dumped her, and she said all sorts of things. So anyway, basically she was trying to get $100,000 out of him, and I'm not sure if she got that money really. I'm not sure if she did, but yeah, that is one of the issues there. But she had already withdrawn her charges, meaning that, again, that's another case that just collapsed right there. And I'm not sure if she was raped, because if you listen to the audios, now I don't know if these audios are authentic, but if those audios are authentic, they didn't talk like people who didn't know what they were doing. They were like people who were in total agreement. So I'm not sure if these audios were made by somebody in Magaya's camp, if they were made up, if they were done by somebody who is in Magaya's camp, or if it was somebody in Petronila's camp, or if it was somebody else who was trying to pin Magaya to a certain case. But the way it sounded, this audio sounded like these are two people that are totally in agreement, that are in a relationship, and there is no rape going on there. So unfortunately, after the first person who came up, who spoke about this Magaya's sexual advances, that was Charity Tlotlo, a lot of women came up to say that they had first the same thing with Magaya. They had been exposed to sexual assault by Magaya, which then prompted the Zimbabwe Gender Commission, ZGC, to launch an investigation into Magaya. And the High Court actually said yes, the ZGC had the right to actually launch an investigation into Magaya, but he went to the Supreme Court to actually try and say he didn't want them to investigate because it was none of their business. He basically wanted the ZRP to do all the investigations. But if I'm not mistaken, the Supreme Court actually said that they were going to stand with what the High Court had ruled, that the ZGC had the right to investigate him. In 2016, Magaya, again under his company called Planet Africa, bought a piece of land from the then minister, Sevia Kasukuwere, and then he was supposed to be subdividing this land and selling it to individuals. A lot of people poured in their money. He was making people pay deposits of ranging from $1,000 to $4,000 as deposit on the land that he was selling. It was supposed to be some development, proper development thing going on there. But nothing ever materialized out of that. And a lot of people came out crying for their money. People in Cape Town, people in Australia, people in Zimbabwe. They always saying they want their money back. From 2016 to the year 2021, 2022, nothing had materialized and nobody had been paid back. So yes, Magaya was actually involved in a land saga. Now, with the land saga, people constantly say that, why is Magaya not being arrested for all these cases? How come he has never seen a day in prison for all these cases? And, people actually think, okay, it's because he belongs to the ruling party or something of that nature. But the ZRP keeps saying that they cannot pursue these cases because once people come and file a case, the next thing is they're coming back and they're withdrawing. So there is really nothing that they can do. They cannot force people to continue with their cases when they know that the people have decided that they want to withdraw. Magaya also had a tax evasion charge. He also has a tax evasion charge on his charge sheet. Okay. Yeah, that is believed to emanate from. That is believed to be emanating from his non-payment of taxes concerning his businesses as well as the hotel that is owned by the church. So I'm not sure if the hotel is actually owned by the church or he decided to say it's owned by the hotel for tax purposes. But I don't know. It's probably his business that he's running, and he just says it's part of the church. Another case that is linked to Walter Magaya is that in 2020 he took, using his company called Yada Connect, Walter Magaya took mining equipment valued at 30,000 US dollars on credit from a mining equipment supplier in Matabeleland. He was supposed to have paid the full amount by June of 2020, but he did not. And by August of 2020, he still hadn't paid. And then he was supposed to be taken to court. So again, that's another case that is linked to his name. Wow, so many cases. Now, on a number of occasions, the police have had to raid Magaya's home, Magaya's church. First, they raided his church concerning this Aguma, where he was saying that he had found the cure for HIV. So there was a police raid at his church where they were trying to retrieve all the ingredients or whatever it is that he was using to make this drug, this medication. And recently, his home was again raided by the police and military people. They said that the target was not anybody in particular, but it was just that they were following a trail, that they were following a tip-off from the public. So in that raid, actually 3 homes were raided on that particular night, and there was one person who was arrested, and this person was found in possession of firearms, but they were still looking for somebody else that they did not find. So it turns out they probably didn't find anything in Walter Magaya's house. Whoever tipped them about what was happening in his home could have actually given them false information, or Magaya could also have gotten the heads up that they were coming to raid his home, and he got rid of whatever it was that they were looking for. So apparently his spokesman by the name Mango said that, well, it was a mistake. The person that they were looking for had actually given them a wrong home address. The person had actually given them the address of Magaya's home as his home. So when they came in raiding, they were looking for that particular person, but they just happened to be at a wrong address. Okay, yeah, that probably would make sense. That's probably a reasonable explanation right there. But yeah, whatever it was that they were looking for, they did not find it. So Walter Magaya has all these cases hanging. He's this long charge sheet. His charge sheet is an arm's length, but he has never seen a day in prison, right? Why is that so? Is it because these people are wrongfully accusing him, or he's being just accused of something that he never did? People hate him so much that they are making up stories about him. People are being used by the devil, like in Charity Lotto's case. Or is he paying off these people to shut up? There was some story that was circulating of a lady who ended up in Botswana, who ended up dying in Botswana because of Magaya. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. If you have any 411 on that one, please just share with your girl. I want to know. I just had bits and pieces of this story of a lady who ended up dying in Botswana because she had done something to Magaya and what. But yeah, the comments, when these stories come out, the comments, you can really see that he has some die-hard fans, or is it some die-hard supporters, or I don't know what we call them when we're talking of a church setup, or is it some die-hard congregants who will support him to death, who, like you see people commenting, this is a man of God, he would never do this. People who are doing this, who are framing him like this, may God punish you, may God strike you with lightning, may God do this and that and that. My question is, why are people targeting him? Is he the only prophet on the land? Why is he surrounded with so much controversy? I mean, why so issues issues of, oh, he raped this one, or he sexually assaulted that one, and the land scandals and the swindling and the tax evasions? Are all these stories made up? Are all these cases being cooked up somewhere? But to what end? What has he done that has made people to hate him so much that they will create all these stories about him? I don't know. Do leave a comment down below tell me what you think. Yeah. So this is Walter Magaya, Prophet W. Magaya. This is just the bits and pieces that I found about him. He's one of the very popular prophets in Zimbabwe. He's probably got more people or more followers than most of the prophets in Zimbabwe. And he's created a name for himself that is known all over. Like the time just before they actually raided his home, he had been in Kenya, where upon landing at Jomo Kenyatta Airport, he was received by some ministers. He was even given a police escort. That's how famous this man is. And women were kneeling on the road and praying and, praising him and all that. So yeah, that's how well known and how famous this man is. And that's how much people have received him. That's how much people have received his word, his preachings, his teachings. I don't want to lie. I'm one person who has never sat down to actually watch his sermons. Maybe I should really. But yeah, that's Walter Magaya for you there. Who else do you want me to talk about? I think next video we'll probably talk about Matsibabanzira. Oh yeah, while we are talking about Matsibabanzira, Walter Magaya is well known for criticizing Vapo's story, saying that they've got marine spirits. That's why they use water for their deliverance sessions, for their healing sessions. They use water because they work with the spirit from the water. They are marine spirited people. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to go and follow my Facebook page, Zim Crimes channel, where we talk about latest issues that are affecting Zimbabweans in terms of crime. We just do live streams and discuss what is going on, what are Zimbabweans facing, what kind of crimes are we exposed to. Why is this happening? What can we do? All right. Do what you need to do to protect your families. Stay away from crime, because if you do crime, you are most likely to do the time. Goodbye and be blessed.